I was born and spent most of my childhood in Bahía Blanca, a city 400 miles south of Buenos Aires. Nothing very notorious of my childhood. I come from a humble, hard-working family. I did my grade school in 7 different schools, high school in 3 different schools. When I got to the university, I did not move, but I had to change the university. I had to change degree, so I also changed degree, but in the same university. When we joined the church, we had been living in Bahía Blanca for several years. It was a period of time where we were not moving that much. My parents had bought their first small home far away from downtown, in the outskirts of Bahía Blanca city, in a place that was pretty much farm. Nobody lived there. At one point, my parents were granted a possibility, access to build a home in the city through a government plan. It was a major blessing for us. Looking in retrospective, I'm pretty sure that my parents received that opportunity to buy that home, so we could move to Bahía Blanca, where we would find the gospel. Where we lived, missionaries would have never come, and we would have never joined the church. We met the missionaries when I was 11 years old. And our conversion was a story back then, because people would investigate the church. There weren't very many members of the church. The church was really small in Argentina. People would investigate the church for probably a year or more before they baptized. So our family, the whole family, was baptized in probably 4 or 5 weeks, which for the time was amazing. My father, and when I mentioned my mother and the way that she felt about Jesus Christ, we were Catholics. We didn't know much, but we had a very strong feeling of reverence for Christ and for God. And when we moved to Bahía Blanca, to this new apartment, and we became city boys, and we would attend a chapel, a Catholic chapel that was probably like 15 blocks away from our home. We would hear the bell ringing, announcing that the Mass was going to start in a few minutes. So we would walk. And the interesting thing is, we've always said it would be nice that Dad would come with us. I always considered my father as skeptical or atheist, not very interested in religion. When the missionaries came to our home, my father was very interested in what they had to say. I still remember the feeling that I had when they taught about the plan of salvation. That was enough for me. That feeling that I had when I was taught the plan of salvation was enough for me to know that what they were teaching was true. Eventually we moved when I was almost 13 to Buenos Aires, which was a major change in our lives. So from being a farm boy, somebody that was living in a very secluded place, now we were living in a major city with access to education. I didn't realize back then, but later on I understood that there were purposes on us moving. I was called to serve on the Argentina Rosario mission. It was a large mission, so we went. I served in different places of the northeast of Argentina. I was the first Argentine to receive an invitation to be part of a program that we're developing in the Marriott School of Management in BYU, promoting or trying to find students that had already graduated in countries like Argentina, invite them to be part of a scholarship and a loan, and to obtain an MBA degree. My wife, myself, 3 kids, and 10 suitcases, which included, my wife's favorite pants. We moved to the U.S. and we lived 2 years there. What that gave us, not only gave us or gave me access to a postgraduate degree and better and new job opportunities, but for our family it meant living in the heart of the church. When I went to BYU, I was part of a married stake, or a stake where married couples attended, and I had the experience of being called to be a high counselor of the stake. My English was even worse than now. It was a major challenge for me to represent the stake presidency and go to the different wards and speak in my broken English and deliver a spiritual message. It was very interesting for me to see how the church operated where it was strong. I was called as a stake president when I was, I think, 36 or 37 years old, and when I finished my service as a stake president, we were called to serve as mission president in Cordoba. Again, living in Cordoba opened up new experiences. I discovered areas of my country and a culture that is not the same that in Buenos Aires. During my professional life, I had responsibilities over different countries. So to me, it was very common to travel to Peru, to Chile, to Paraguay, Bolivia. They were part of my territory. Over that period of time, it was also good to get exposed to what the church was in those places. My family today, we have 5 children. They are all, 4 of them are married. 1 is getting married now. We have 9 grandchildren, and we are enjoying this phase of our life. We are enjoying our grandchildren. It's interesting, now one of our daughters is living in the US, so they also had a very unique experience living in Argentina, getting their undergraduate degree in BYU, and now living in Dallas. Very different places. They are being benefited and blessed by this migration, and the story of our family continues to be associated with migration. I don't know, probably it hasn't ended. I've had the chance to live in very different places and to see the church at different stages of maturity. In Utah, the church is well established. In Buenos Aires, it's established, probably not as strong as in Utah. But then I've had a chance to be as a missionary, live in places where we had just a small branch. Where I was as a missionary, I had to be the branch president, and it was just a handful of members that were very poor and they were struggling. So I've seen the challenges over the course of my life. I've seen the church going from an unknown church to today working in public affairs. I could see firsthand the recognition that the church has achieved, the respect that most of the government and other religions have for our church. So we are now becoming an influence in the society. The war that I attend today is a very good example of how the church in a very urban place could be still a struggling church. I live in an area where there are many closed neighborhoods. I live in a closed neighborhood, but there are many areas that belong to the ward that I attend where very humble families live. So in our ward, we combine people that are middle class and people that are of a more struggling or more challenging social condition. For me, as an elder school president, it's wonderful to have both of these situations in the same ward, because it provides opportunity to serve, to teach, to help, to make a difference in the life of these people. My professional life is coming to an end. When I think of the many wonderful professions that were not members of the church that I met over the course of my career, with whom I was able to share the gospel, to explain what I believed. Probably for many of them, the reference to the church, the only reference to the church that they would have is me. And I hope that I was able to contribute in some way and to their good attitude towards the church and towards the gospel of Jesus Christ.